Howdy, howdy, everybody, and welcome back to Stranded Deep in Conversation, where we play Stranded Deep and just talk, have a good time. By we, I mainly mean I, but you can all feel free to input stuff. I'm game. I'm all for it. So before we get into today's topic, we're going to go through our new little segment called This Week in Retail, where I go over some of the key points, just funny things, or just like Tim Allen moments that I had at work today. Well, not today, this whole week. Hence the name. This week. It makes sense. All right. So for starters, one of my coworkers clipped their leg on something, like the back of their leg, and it just started bleeding like a son of a bitch. And they went to go freaking sit down and be like, "Oh, how am I fixing this? Oh, jeez, oh no." And what I decided to do was try to help. But since I didn't really know how to help, I was kind of just frantically running around like a really useless dad, like a new dad, trying to figure out how to fix their child who really doesn't know what they're doing, but they were just trying to help, and they figured it out themselves, but I tried. They appreciated the help, but it did not amount to anything useful, let me tell you. So that was fun. Another thing, there was a family who was checking out, and there was a little girl with this family, and they said, and I quoted it here, "There's an imposter among us, maybe it's Orange." So, Among Us is still thriving and jiving with the youth of this day and age, to the point where they are saying that to, I don't know if it was to me or their parents, but they were just staring off into the void and saying that. So they're in their head. Among Us is in their head. So I just thought that was freaking funny as shit when I first heard it. It's kind of weird now, but I mean, hey, it's Among Us. What are you gonna do? Can't stop the Among Us train. I don't remember exactly what I said to this guy, but all I know is that afterwards I said, "You're all good, man," and then I said that, and I put that he said, "Thank." He didn't say thank you, he's like, "Thank." So, again, people are really good with the personal interactions. Gotta love it. While stocking some of the candy, entire fucking shelf just... okay, I should explain the situation a little bit better. So I was stocking some candy, and I'm in between our front counter and a different aisle behind the aisle I'm stocking in. And in both directions, I hear creaking. So I'm like, oh, that's weird. And I look and I see my coworker putting some stuff away, opening some shelves or whatever, drawers. And okay, that's probably just that. And I must be breaking. Maybe I didn't put on my freaking surround sound today. But no, there was in fact creaking from both sides. And I go to tippy toe up to see what's happening on the other side, and I hear a clunk, and then a part of the shelf just collapse, and a bunch of things fall on the floor. It was freaking hilarious. And we go over to see what it is. Literally, it wasn't even the whole shelf, or an even part of the shelf. Part of the shelf just chipped off. I guess we overloaded it, and it literally just chipped off and fell. And so we had to take the whole shelf down. But what ended up happening was he tried getting the hinge off or whatever, and he freaking dropped it on his foot. So he had a really bad foot pain. This is the day before he was supposed to go on vacation, so I felt really bad for the guy. It was a disaster. It was so funny. The whole thing was funny. He was laughing too, so it's fine. But it was so funny. Oh my goodness. But I mean, yeah, so just some crazy stuff. And more recently in the week, I had two of the absolutely most pathetically stupid interactions of my life. So the first one was one of my coworkers is someone complained about the men's room. Can you go see what's wrong? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't really care that much about cleaning that shit. It's whatever. So I go over there. I go inside. And I'm like, okay. So far, so good. There's no poop smeared on the ceiling or the walls, which there sometimes is, which is alarming. And to my surprise, everything looked fine. And I go to the toilet. It's a little bit like, there's some stuff in it, but I'm like, people have complained about less. Like, people have complained about there being soap on the edge of our sink. So I was like, okay, this is just some guy who's like 80, who's like, this isn't proper establishment. Which, I mean, hey, you know, fair enough, I guess. But I don't think any of us really gave a damn. But I go to flush the toilet. It did not even get close to flushing. This thing was about as close to flushing as the Titanic was to making it to its voyage, to making it to its destination. It was close, but also nowhere even close. It completely 180'd on what it was supposed to do. It was like water was rising. Water was like starting to rise. If I flushed that thing one more time, it would have flooded out of the toilet. I'm like, okay, it's clogged. No worries. Luckily, there's 2 plungers right here. I'll just use one of these. Thank goodness there were 2 plungers, because one of the plungers, in the middle of me trying to use it, just snaps, just breaks. Not snaps. It like breaks. Like the plunger bit breaks. So like a huge gash in it, because I guess I was plunging too hard or whatever. And keep in mind, all the while, this has already been like spewing like freaking toilet water all over the freaking floor, the toilet, and my pants and whatever. I didn't care. I was just trying to unclog it so I can clean it up afterwards, which I eventually did clean it up, so we're fine. It wasn't like I wasn't forced to or anything. I just was like, okay, time to clean this disaster up. But holy moly, it took me like 10 minutes to finally get that thing to go and like flush properly. And when that plunger broke, since there's a big gash in it, it was like a freaking Nerf Super Soaker. It decided, oh, we'll just squirt a bunch of water through the hole, and we don't have to worry about suction. And it shot right at me. Like, right at me. It didn't hit my face, thank God. It just hit my shirt, which was still gross. Because I was just about to go on break before I was going to clean the toilet. I was just like, alright, I'll clean the toilet, and then I'll go on break. I'll clean the bathroom. I didn't know the toilet would be a problem. I just figured it would be like, it's fine, and I can go take my break. No. It was the mother of all clogs. And the thing is, though, you couldn't even see anything. And it's not like I plunged anything up. It just started working eventually. I don't get why. Nothing about that situation makes sense to me. I don't know how, I don't get it. And then eventually just flush, and eventually I clean it up, and I'm just left in my not covered, it was just water covered, water covered, just fucking pants. And I didn't bring spares. I didn't think this would happen today. So I just wore that for the entire rest of the day. I tried cleaning off what I could, but it was just gross. I just was gross for the day, which is pretty regular for me, I guess, so it's fine. And then, to top that day off, I got an Uber home, because I didn't want to walk. It's like an hour walk, and normally I'm fine walking it, but I was tired, and then my sister and I were free the next day, so I figured, why not? Oh my god, this Uber. He had a 6-year badge on his account, so clearly he knew what he was doing. So I don't know if he was just playing me for a fool, or he really just hasn't Ubered in a while. But this frickin' guy, is just, he picks me up at my work, and the destination doesn't change. So I don't know if it's his fault. It probably wasn't. It was probably just Uber's fault. But the way he handled it as well, just, it wouldn't change to my destination where I was trying to go. And he kept, I was like, well, maybe you should go to the exact spot in the GPS, because technically he was like around the corner of it, but it was all in the same parking lot, so like, I didn't think it mattered. Normally it doesn't, but I guess I figured maybe this time it did. It wasn't the case, I guess, because they said it wasn't, so I guess it wasn't. And so I'm like, alright, well, what the hell do we do now? And he's like, he just started driving. He literally just started driving in the wrong direction. And I'm like, he's like, after like a minute of driving this way, he's like, is this the way you normally go? I'm like, no, it's the other way. I don't know why you're going this way. I figured he was just going to try to like loop around to try to fix the GPS or something. No, he was just driving. He was just hoping he was going the right way. He didn't ask me until like a minute in. And then I'm like, no, this isn't right. It's the other way. And he was just like, And eventually, thank goodness, I get home. He actually takes me home, thank goodness. And the thing is, since I didn't arrive, I technically was still making him wait, according to Uber. So I had accumulated a huge cancellation fee that ultimately I kind of had to pay. Because, I mean, otherwise I would have just kept ramping up and he could have just made a fortune off of me. So, luckily, I complained about it and I got it. I didn't complain. I filed. I went into the thing and I was like, I don't think I deserve this cancellation fee. And then they're like, why? And then none of the options were my driver's GPS wasn't working, so he drove me home. But at the same time, it wouldn't let me just cancel normally. And it's not like he was waiting for me. He knew where I was. It was just, there was no option that worked, so I just clicked the best one. He's like, okay, refund, here you go. And I'm like, oh, what? It's okay. I didn't want the whole refund. I just wanted to get it was like, the ride itself was like $8. But I wanted to at least give him like 13, 15 of that, which was still like a good chunk of what wound up going to him. But still, it was just silly. The silliest thing. I had another Uber today, and it worked perfectly fine. So I don't understand. But either way, I digress. The last thing in this week in retail section. I know this is going on pretty long, but I had a lot of really freaking stupid points. There was a guy who came in, asked if we had Hallmark cards. We have some Hallmark cards, so I was like, hey, yeah, sure, we got Hallmark cards. And he's like, great. And we go over there, and while he's looking, he's like, are you a musician? And I'm like, no, why? He's like, well, you have the long hair, and you're whistling into the song or whatever. And I'm like, oh, well, thanks, I guess, because apparently he was a guitar guy for like 30 years or something, he said. I don't know how much I believe him, but he was cool, so I don't think he'd just lie about that. But that brings me into my topic today, because that made me start thinking about what musical things I've actually done in my time. Because I've tried to dabble into the musical hemisphere. I just suck at it. So I figured I would talk today about some of my fails, successions in the musical world, just where I've gone. So, I guess we should start off with what even made me try to do all this musical shit. That's just the fact that I just generally like music. Music's cool. I mean, me personally, I didn't listen to music on my own until high school. I didn't think it was that important. But I was like, hey, this is cool, something to do. I have headphones, might as well use them, right? And I did use them pretty dang well. My music tastes. Jonathan Colton, Weird Al, Ninja Sex Party, Shadow Academy, which is another Dan Avedon band, Long Winters, just anything that's I like a lot of comedy in my music. I don't listen to music to be in my feels. I listen to music because it's got a nice rhythm to it, nice mood, and sometimes they have nice meanings. So I'm like, yeah, that's cute. I like it, sure. But I don't go too crazy into the freaking super deep songs or whatever. Not for me. It could be for you. That's fine. Just not for me. But then. So yeah, but also just generally speaking, my family was huge on music. Whenever we have a big because we had a ton of family gatherings and stuff, we would always have music, and it was always loud. And most of the time, a bunch of my relatives were in a band, a band together. Oh yeah, a band together, and they'd play during our freaking hangouts and stuff, and they were good, and I liked them. I think a lot of people got tired of them who came, but I liked them. They sounded nice, and they sounded like they're having fun, so that's all that matters. It was good stuff. I enjoyed it, which definitely made me start thinking about it. And he always had instruments. He had a piano. My uncle, by the way, he had a piano. He had a guitar. He had a bunch of stuff. He knew what he was doing. He knew what his stuff. He's kind of an iffy little son-o' gun about it, but he knew his stuff. So you can't knock him for it. You probably could, but I won't. But yeah, so there was a lot of just things that made me think about trying to do music, but I never actually did it. And I still kind of don't. I still never really have. The only thing I've gotten close to is the harmonica. But the harmonica, I've genuinely tried to get good at it. I've tried to get better at it. it's something that I've put work towards. Like, there's a good while where, like, I would do pretty much a lot of harmonica for, like, months. And don't get me wrong, I'm not good at it. Like, as much as I want to say I'm good at it, I'm really not. I can play music on it, like, I have one over here. Like I know what I'm doing. It's going to be embarrassing, because I'm not going to cut anything else. I'm going to screw this up, I'm telling you right now. Like, it's nothing. Like, I'm not good at, like, the riff-raff and the pizzazz that a bunch of other, like, people can do with harmonica, and that's what most people expect, like, the whole, like, riffs and stuff. I can't really do those. I didn't really practice for those, unless I just practiced to play songs that I like, because, I mean, I like songs. But, yeah, I love harmonica. I first got a harmonica on, like, a birthday or a Christmas, like, years ago when I was a kid. And I love that thing. I play that thing to my heart's content. Because I just liked making noise. I like music. Because that's probably another reason why I like it so much. It's just noise. I'm a big fan of making noise. And harmonica is an easy way to make noise. I'm sure anyone who has a kid who played harmonica, or at least had a harmonica, definitely knows that. It's a noise machine more than anything. But yeah, so then around high school, I was like, I didn't really do much with it until, like, after high school. Well, I didn't do too much with it until around high school, because at that point, the one that I had, that's fine. But yeah, the one that I had was way gone, because that was years later. This is years later. And one of my birthday parties, one of my friends gets me a harmonica, and I'm like, oh wow, this is awesome. And because I go to play it, I suck. They note that I suck. I'm like, yeah. I haven't picked one up in probably forever, but I love it, so thank you so much. And I made sure I wanted to get better at it. And I did. And I'm very happy that I got better at it. How do I tear these down? There we go. Oh god, okay, you know what, that's gonna stay up. But yeah, so, harmonica. That's definitely the one that I have the most experience with. Which isn't much to say, but it is definitely the one that I'm most comfortable with, and one that if anyone asked me what instrument I play, I'd probably just say the harmonica. Which isn't bad. It's not a bad instrument. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty easy to get into from what most people say. I don't necessarily believe that, but, teach their own. What are you going to do? Which then brings me into the next instrument, which I kind of have older memories of this. Not really, though, because it's the bongos. Me and my friend, in who knows when, 7th grade? I don't know what it was about us. We just wanted bongos. I don't know if it was just because it was funny. I don't know if we thought it was just funny. But we wanted bongos more than, like, anything. We wanted bongos. And by gum, we were going to get some bongos. And we did. Well, I did. For $40 at a shop that sells bongos, I got bongos. And it was great. I loved that thing. It was really swell, I gotta say. Did I know how to play them? Absolutely not. I was absolutely awful at it. And I didn't get much actual time to play it, because unlike the harmonica, way too much noise at bongos. It's literally just a small set of drums. That's really all it is. And if your family ain't into that, then they're just not into it. That's just how it is. Which is fine, again. Only a lot of resentment. But either way, I digress. Yeah, so the bongos, I didn't get to play too much of. I was having fun with them, though. I will say that. I was having a lot of fun with them when I was messing around with them. But I couldn't get into them too much. I really wish I did, though. Because, the thing is, I think the main problem with the bongos is that and this is still a problem for me today, I don't have an ounce of rhythm in my brain. Like, rhythm and I do not work, are not a sentence that makes sense together. It just doesn't work. None of that works. I don't know. It sucks because I try to just make like a simple beat with my hands. I'll be like, boom, boom, ba, 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 and I will screw it up within the first like 10 times doing it. And it's just how I am. I hate it, but you know what can you do? Not much. But yeah, it's fine. So yeah, the bongos were kind of just yeah, there's no way this is actually gonna work. Which sucks. It always sucks to think that you just can't do something. But you know, what are you gonna do? And I wasn't too beat up on it because, unlike the bongos, which I did beat up a lot. No. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I didn't have enough time, I guess, to grow an attachment to them. Because every time I try to play them, I wouldn't. Quite simply. Because I couldn't. It's whatever. And pretty much after bongos, and like, even after harmonica, even after I got my harmonica again, because eventually that one also, I didn't lose it, I was really bad at it to the point where I kind of broke it, because I just breathed really hard in it. So, I eventually got another one. I got my own, relatively quality, it's okay. I'd like to get more, I'd like to get better ones, but that's later talk. But, yeah, but this has been this sort of big grace period for me, where I've just been getting a ton of the stupidest things I could find. I got maracas, I have a freaking xylophone, I have a recorder, a ukulele, a kazoo. Like, I have, like, every dumb thing you can ask for. I got a kazoo right here. It's just stupid. I have a slide whistle. I have a tiny little set of drums. Y'all know the set of drums. I used them in the last episode. I don't remember what episode it was. But, yeah, so it's just, I get dumb stuff. And it's always fun, because again, just noise. I think that's the main thing about it, noise. I love making noise. Which is weird, because I don't like when other people make noise, and I don't like when games are loud. Like, as you can probably tell, I'm not a big fan of when this game gets loud, or when any game gets loud. It's not I'm not a big fan of that. I just like making noise. If I'm the one making noise, then I'm gonna like it. But, yeah, so those instruments are fun. I gotta say the slide whistle's probably the most fun, just because, I mean, it's a fucking slide whistle, of course it's fun. I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. I mean, you can't not love this thing. It's so much fun. I mean, you can still kind of play stuff on it. I don't know how to fucking play this thing properly, but I know how to make the dumb sounds, which is all I care about. So, it's fine. But yeah, a bunch of dumb instruments. Where's my recorder? Hold on, maybe I can... I know I have a lot of my shit in this tiny keyboard fucking cracker tin. It's not even tiny, it's just... It's under my bed, and I'm grabbing at it. I just can't get it out. I'm gonna do it. I swear to God. Did it. Okay. I think at least the recorder should be in here. Just pull it apart into different pieces. Yes, I see its chunks. Its remains. I think that's probably the only instrument I have in here. I have a bunch of shit in there, though. Unless you count a mixer, a tiny mixer, as an instrument, or marbles. Yeah, I think it's the only instrument I have in here anymore. I took most of them out, so they were just taking up too much space everywhere else. So let me put this guy together. And I don't know how to play the recorder. It's been way too long. Dude, I'd be like a good tribalman. There's hot cross buns. I think that's hot cross buns. It's one of them. But yeah, so many dumb instruments I got. My maracas are away. Not away, they're across the room. I'm not getting up to the fucking harmonicas. But just know I have them. And they're sitting right next to a rainbow cat. And they guard them with their life. And if they don't, I kill them. But yeah, a bunch of dumb instruments. I do think those are probably the most fun things I have. Like, the harmonic is cool, and I like playing it and all. But, I mean, it's no stupid frickin' slide whistle. You know, at the end of the day, what would you rather have? An actual instrument or a slide whistle? Exactly. I just need a hammer. Okay, but yeah, so this brings me into, I guess, one of the last points for this, which I guess makes it's gonna be a pretty quick episode, I guess. But I don't have too many points to say about this. I just thought it was interesting to bring up. Frickin' the guitar, like an actual guitar. My sister had one when I was a kid, my older sister. And I was always like, whoa, dude, you got a guitar? It's so cool. And I'd always, like, play it when she was, like, out or something. And I wouldn't play it. I'd just frick around with it and have fun. And, I mean, I liked what I was producing. It was fun. Very, very enjoyable instrument. Unless you're trying to make it sound good. In which case, it's essentially hell on earth. Because trying to make yourself sound good is pretty much impossible for my own ears. But you know what? What are you gonna do? End of the day, it's eat or be eaten, and that's that. Yeah, I always wanted to play one because she always had one. She's gotten into it more recently, and I'm really freaking happy about that because she used to love doing that stuff. She stopped a while ago because she didn't have one. But she's gotten back into it. I'm really happy for her because she loves that thing. So I'm glad. She's somewhere now. I think California or wherever. I don't know exact whereabouts of things. I don't keep up with people very well. That's a shame. I really should freaking talk to her. It's been a bit. I think the last I talked to her was her birthday, which is a few months ago. But it's nice. We understand. We're both pretty shit at talking. We're both pretty shit at typing and shit. So, ish whatever. Don't worry about us. We'll be fine. But yeah, so around when she was here recently, because she stayed over for a few months, because Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that jazz, and whilst they were here, they were looking through their closet and found, lo and behold, a guitar. They had a guitar. It wasn't the one when they were a kid, but it was just a guitar. It was a pink guitar. I love pink. Pink's probably my second favorite, if not my favorite color. Pink and green are, like, depending on the day, pink and green are very up there for me. I have ruined the foundation for this thing. What are you gonna do? But, yeah, so she got this pink guitar, and she's like, do you just want this? And I'm like, what? Are you serious? Because, I shit you not, I was thinking about getting myself, like, a proper guitar or something before that. I was like, well, I mean, I may never get it, but damn do I want one. And then she just freaking comes in with a deal of a lifetime, and I'm like, well, yeah, I want it. And I practiced pretty extensively for like a good 3 weeks or so, and I'm able to do one chord. I don't have the guitar on me; it's in my closet, which is already a bad sign if I'm trying to freaking keep up at it, and I just put it away. But yeah, it's in my closet, and I touch it every so often, but I really want to get back into doing the guitar, because I love how guitar sounds. It's probably like one of my favorite instruments to hear. But yeah, pretty much everyone is. Like, I love drums. If I had a set of drums, I would freaking practice the shit out of the drums. Drums are awesome. Like, there's a VR game called Beat Synth that is like VR. It's like, you know, like Beat Saber, but except instead of a saber, it's drums, and you smack the drums. It's awesome. I love it. It's very fun. It's very iffy, but it's still fun to just be like, yeah, look at me go. I have fun with that. But yeah, back to the guitar. I started doing it a little bit. Eventually, I was just slowly getting less and less into it, and I really hate. I beat myself up. I beat myself up for it a lot, because it's like I have this perfect opportunity, this perfect tool to do something I've been wanting to do for so long, and I just don't do it. And I really don't know why. There's nothing stopping me. So I'm probably going to get back into that. I really want to get back into it. It's just I have so many other things going on. I have this going on. I have work. I have a bunch of stuff. There's a million reasons to say no to something. I understand that. It's just those reasons seem as just not very pertinent, but just enough to keep me away from doing it. But also, I guess I never find time, which sucks, because I'm always like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta hang out with my friends, I gotta do this, whatever it may be. Just a bunch of stuff. But I need to start getting better at that, because I really do want to get back into guitar. Guitar was always one that just felt nice to play. But yeah, it's tough. Playing the guitar is tough. Growing calluses? I don't think people talk about growing calluses enough, unless like they're in the guitar scene. Like, calluses are freaking rough to build up. Like, first you have to freaking pretty much just murder your hand in order to actually start growing them, which is just pain enough. But then you have to freaking like keep it up. Like I had started like actually getting calluses on like my fingers, like my middle finger, ring finger, and freaking index finger. But they freaking wore off while I was working one day. Like I was just at work and I was just freaking stacking boxes, putting them away, and whatever the works be. And they literally were just started freaking peeling off my fingers. I'm like, are you serious? Like, this took forever. This is like, this, I don't know how that happened. Like, it's an enigma. But, so, I haven't been able to really build them up since. I've been trying. I tried before. It just doesn't work. I feel like just growing them out, like, getting them is hard, and then keeping them, it seems harder, somehow. Which makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. I don't know. But yeah, like, freaking, just trying to, I don't know what it is. My fingers just don't work the way I feel like they're supposed to. I think, I don't know. Everyone else seems so easily able to, like, do A's and E's and whatever the hell other alphabeticals, pharmaceuticals, or whatnot. The works, But it's just crazy, like, so many people can freaking do this, and I can't for the life of me. Like, if someone told me, hey, I'm either going to shoot you in the leg or you're going to play a good A key, I couldn't play you an A key, and A is, like, one of the first ones you learn. Like, I can do an E, and I can only kind of do an E, and that's about as far as my self-training got. And I tried pretty damn hard. It's just, sometimes trying isn't enough. Sometimes you just bite the bullet and realize, Jesus, I am not good at this. Which is fine. It's okay to admit that. It just sucks to admit that. And I've been there, and I'm still there. Even with harmonica. Like, I'm not very, like, again, rhythmic. So trying to, like, blow singular breaths sometimes. Just trying to, like, do certain things. It just doesn't work a lot. For me, it's just tough. It's not like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's just rough. But, I mean, hey. With time, you get better at things. And I can play harmonica decently well. So I'm not like, super sad or anything. I'm just super duper sad. Kidding. But, either way, yeah, so it just takes time. And I wish my bongos, I still have them. At least I did. I think I might have thrown them away now because I think when I last checked on them, they were broken, which broke my heart to see that they were broken. I don't know how they could have broken, but they did, and that I will never get over that. I'm still just sad about it. But it's fine, things happen. What can you do? Not quite, literally nothing, especially about that. But yeah, so I really wish I had that, because I would totally try to do bongos again, because that's the thing. I'm assuming that you can just build up your rhythmic sense or something like that. I feel it makes sense in my head, so I'm sure it makes sense in reality. But it's like, if you do something that takes rhythm, and you, like, really do it, then you probably start building up the rhythmic vibes in your brain, and then you're able to, like, do it properly. But I'm assuming that's how it could work. I don't know if it would, but I would like for that to be the way. But I'm sure everyone would like for that to be the way. But obviously with work comes reward sometimes. So I don't know. Here's hoping, because I will eventually. Because bongos are pretty cheap, so bongos are like a fun little thing you can just get for yourself. You're like, haha, look at me, I do the bongos. But you can get good at bongos, man. Like, I lived in Brooklyn for a long time. And there were people who freaking like banged on those freaking metal drums and stuff, and just anything they could find to like just freaking enjoy themselves. It was awesome. I hate how I put this door. I want it broken. Okay. But yeah, I mean, like, people are so talented, and it blows my mind how they're able to do that. Like, I don't understand. I'd like to understand, though. That's the thing. But eventually I might be able to. I don't know. It's gonna take time. There. Oh, I get the lashings bad. But yeah, so, I mean, in due time, I suppose, something might come of it. All I know is that eventually, I won't have enough time to do it. Because, you know, eventually something is going to turn up for me. I don't know where or how or why, but I'm going to get busy or whatever. That's how life is. You get busy. Having free time gets harder and harder to do. And for instruments, it's very important. Having free time is very important. What the hell? My wood. But yeah, so if you're going to try to learn an instrument, definitely try to learn late. Definitely try to learn as early as possible, but it's never too late to do it, obviously. It's just that I'm just hoping I can actually still do it. But it definitely takes time. And that's the thing with instruments. You know, it's not supposed to happen immediately. You know, it's supposed to take time. It's supposed to be like a whole process. You know, like first you gotta learn chords, and then you gotta learn X and Y and Z, but I don't know. But, you know, obviously the more complex the instrument, the longer it takes. Like, I can only imagine, God, piano, I've only ever touched pianos like twice in my life. One time was like at one of my friend's birthday parties when we were like maybe 6, and I was just having fun with it. And when eventually I stop, a bunch of freaking parents come over and start clapping. I'm like, what did I do? I didn't do anything special here. I just freaking waddled around the thing. But I was having fun, and I'm glad they liked it. I'm a showman, natural-born showman. But yeah, so that was the one time, and I think we had one at like K-8, or maybe I also had one in our high school auditorium. I don't think I ever touched the K-8 one because our music teacher was very strict about who could touch that. But in terms of my high school, we just had one, and I think while we were doing mock trial, I just started fucking around with it, and I obviously sucked, but I was having fun, so I didn't care. But yeah, the piano. It sounds so awesome. I love how a piano sounds. I could never learn piano. That is something that takes so much time and skill. You know, like if I have not started right. I have not start. It just does it needs everything I don't have, which is like coordination, timing, rhythm, everything you could ask in just a sane person, a normal, regular person. I don't have that. I don't have the hands that are. I don't have the rhythmic hands. You know, I haven't been blessed by the rains of Africa soon enough. Which sucks. You know, it does. I will say, it sucks. But what can you do? You can't do none. Maybe you could do something. Maybe you can like always hire a trainer or something for it. But who wants to do that? That's money. The guitar itself is money. You can spend more trying to learn how to play it. There's WikiHow. WikiHow, by the way, huge shout out to WikiHow. In the middle of trying to plunge that toilet, I figured I was just doing it wrong because nothing was happening. So I WikiHow'd how to use the plunger, which it was exactly how I was doing it. But of course, once I started WikiHowing it, I tried it again and it flushed. So WikiHow has some fucking spirit on its side. It just makes things work when you use WikiHow. I don't understand it, but I am in no just position to complain about it. So yeah, huge shout out to WikiHow for being cool. I respect that. anyone who's cool enough to like be like WikiHow, mad respect. But yeah, I mean, that's all there really is to it. In terms of family, I mean, like, my sister's trying to get into violin, or viola, I think violin, and they're having fun with it, so I hope they continue, because they really do want to do it. It's just that they don't have the stuff. They think they don't have the stuff for it, but obviously, if you just put time and effort into anything, you can make any instrument sound good. It's just, you expect it to sound amazing, so obviously, especially with a violin, I can only imagine the frustrations of trying to make that sound good when you start. It must be so annoying. God, yeah, that sounds like fucking hell. But hey, it sounds alright when she's just, like, practicing, so I'm sure in due time she'll sound even better than before. I don't think there's much else to say in terms of my musical experiences, my many musical instruments. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. Yeah, no, I'm blanking. One of my friends needed a saxophone, which was fucking wild. He played it during our winter concert. It was awesome. I don't remember what song it was, but it was amazing. Just hearing that shit. I think saxophone is probably one of my favorite. Like, it's an S tier instrument. Like, whatever god created saxophones knew that it was gonna be busted from the start. Like, they don't have any competition. They didn't nerf it. They didn't try to dial it down. There were no patches made to freaking fix that saxophone. That thing's just busted from the very beginning. And you know what? Good for it. Because that sounds amazing. Baker Street, the freaking saxophone from Baker Street, is some of my favorite music of all time. I love that stuff. I love anything I can blow into, because that requires significantly less hand coordination, which is a thing I struggle with. I just always have. I don't know where it started. I just always kind of been just shitty at doing things with my hands. I always like to do things, though. But I just not good at it. I don't know what to say. Where's home? There's home. But yeah. So I guess that's it for now. And I'm not gonna stretch this longer than it has to. I've run my course, and I'm sure you are all very tired of hearing it at this point. I'm sure it's not true. I'm sure you all love me. You love me, right? I know where you live. I will find you. And I'll make you listen. But yeah, so for those of you watching the game, hope you had fun watching me just build half a house. I had fun building it. And for those of you who listened, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all had a nice time just listening to me talk. Because I definitely had a good time talking to you. So thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Stranded Deep in Conversation. And have a fantastic rest of your day. Goodbye now.